Marco, which is Sir Marco actually. It's not just Marco, I shouldn't say he's just Marco, it's Sir Marco Robertson. So, congratulations on that. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Good evening, everybody. I'm here to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm very playful. I like to have lots of sex. No, I'm joking. Right, so that's not joking. Anyway, when I was 2 years old, my mum left my dad. He was a gambler, an addict. So he spent all the money in the house and stole money and stuff like that. She went to live with her mum and a stepfather. And her stepfather had a history of sexually abusing my mum for years, and she was 4 years old. So one day when she was 12, he put his hand on her breast and said, "I didn't marry your mum for your mum. I married your mum to get to you." That was the kind of childhood she had at that time. Anyway, long story short, we went to live there and he wouldn't let us live there, and it was winter like it is now, and it was -5. We lived in the park on a park bench for 3 nights and nearly died of hypothermia. So then someone rescued us, and then I got to 15 and had 4 jobs, and she met someone else who she's still with now, but I couldn't go there, so I got a job, and I also didn't have a home. When I was 21, so I was offered a job in sales. It was commission only. It was selling timeshare. It was a very difficult thing to sell. And I was the worst salesperson in the world. So the top salesperson gave me a book and he said, "Listen, I used to be like you. Read the book, go home, read it. When you finished it again, read it again, read it again." So I came to the office, and my first customer were both blind. She was blind and he was blind. And I thought, how the hell am I going to sell them something? They can't see it. And what I learned later in life is there's only 2 things that get you to do the stuff you need to do. One of them is desperation, and one of them is inspiration. So I was so freaking desperate, I said to this blind couple, "You're going to sit there for 5 hours, you're going to spend £10,000 with me, and you're going to like it." So 6 hours later, he gave me his credit card, and I asked him, "Why did you buy from me?" The worst thing you can say as a salesperson is, "Why did you buy from me?" And they said, "The reason we bought from you is because you transferred your belief to us." So the first lesson I learned in life is you have to believe in everything you do, who you are, and everything you're about. That's the first step. So then I became world sales record holder in my industry. When I was 26, I was offered jobs all over the world. And I went to Malaysia, and I was there for 22 years in the end. And it was to run a public company. I took that company from nothing to $1 billion in 3 years. So when I was 29, I had a heart attack. A month later, I found out my wife was having an affair with my best friend. It was actually more painful than the heart attack because I knew my best friend for 10 years. I knew her for 10 years. So it was like a double betrayal. And it was probably the most difficult time emotionally that I ever went through. I had loads of money, but I wasn't happy.
But one of the things that really fascinated me about yourself is that you quoted in the Daily Telegraph for saying there is hope for even people who might not think this. I wasn't quite sure what you meant, because I think people want to elaborate on that quote you said, because I think people in this room, everyone has different opinion about hope, and even when I say I found hope from being sick, and that made me determined to be a better person. How did you find hope from being homeless?
Okay, so I'm not a fan of hope at all.
Yeah.
And I think people use that as kind of an easy thing to say to feel better about themselves. So hope walks you through the fire, but faith leaps over it. So my belief took me over the fire. The hope didn't work for me.
Okay.
So when I got back to my default position, hang on a minute, your wife's left you, had a heart attack, and then 3 months later I lost all my money on the stock market. So 3 things happened in a year that were crazy bad.
Yeah.
But because I had nothing before, and I was homeless before, and because I had lessons that I learned, it wasn't such a big deal because I ratified that. I said, you know what, fuck it.
Yeah.
Right? And what I decided to do was basically change my life completely. That was a life-changing thing. I decided to become an entrepreneur.
Now property millionaire Marco is doing something remarkable.
I'm giving away a flat
that could transform a family's future.
We are homeless.
What am I worried about? Having no eyesight and not being able to earn money.
I just want better for them.
Who do you give it to? It's an impossible situation.
Get a house for free.
That was an amazing program on Channel 4. I don't know if any of you got to see it. Because let's be honest, we talk about charity, we talk about wanting to help, but how many of us actually do that? And you actually braved up and gathered the energy to do this. What's inspired you, and what did you get back from doing this?
I don't do it for a benefit, as a personal benefit, as I need to do this. I do it to make a difference. I do it to make a legacy. I do it to say, you know what, my life's not just about business, it's about actually helping someone that doesn't have what I have. And I didn't have, I used to be like them, I used to be homeless, right? But my philosophy was, well, how can I help more people? Because 3 houses isn't nowhere near enough. There are 3 billion socially excluded people in the world. And the reason that is because the education system is completely fucked and skewed to rich people. People don't teach you to become an entrepreneur. And the only way to get out of this is to educate people how to be financially independent.
You've inspired me from going from homeless to being who you are today. You've overcome so much, and you are also, which is something that fascinates me as well.
The Russian Secret Service is looking for Sasha, a Ukrainian journalist who knows too much to be left alive. In order to force me to kill the woman that I love, they took my daughter.
Whoa, you are into everything. You've written a book, you're an entrepreneur.
2 books.
You've
Both
written
won
books.
bestsellers.
Exactly, bestseller books, what can I say? You're an entrepreneur, you've given away houses, free. Not 1, not 2, but free. And now you're an actor.
Yeah.
How did you get into this?
Good question.
Tell us.
I've always, since I was a baby, wanted to be in movies. That was my dream. But I never got around to it. I was too busy with other stuff, right? So after I made the TV show, and kind of while this was going on, I met somebody who was a director, had a story. And the story was actually a different story. It was a very different story. But the film turned into a fictional spy thriller called Legacy of Lies.
Yes.
And I raised £4.5 million to make it. We won the best film trailer at the Ukrainian Film Foundation, with $1 million for that. And we have now Scott Adkins in that film, who's a massive top martial artist filmmaker in the world. He's got his own film called Undisputed Boy, Expendables, Ip Man 4, all this. So I'm starring with him in the film. Amazing film, unbelievable story. And that was like a dream come true. So that is released in February. When I came to London in September to go to acting school, I'm actually at acting school now 3 days a week, studying acting. And I'm 51 and everyone's like 19. But you know, it's fantastic.
I'm going to play a game with you.
Okay.
You have to be fast with your answer. If you could live anywhere, where would it be?
Moscow.
What is your biggest fear?
Heights.
What is your favorite vacation?
Sex. First answer, sorry, it came in my head.
What would you change about yourself if you could?
What would I change? I think I'd be more friendly.
What really makes you angry?
People that don't care.
Finally, where do you find your strength from?
Inside.
Wow. Sir Marco Robinson.
Yes, darling, Lady Anne Welsh.
I look forward to seeing you guys next session with Conversation with Anne Welsh. Thank you all for listening. I hope you enjoyed this.